Chapter 4. The Death of David Riccio. It was a Saturday evening in March 1566. I was in Edinburgh with some friends. David Riccio was there, with 6 or 7 other people. We were in a small room, but there was a good dinner on the table, and we were happy. It was dark outside, but inside it was warm and friendly. Suddenly, a door opened behind me. In the door was Henry Darnley, my husband. I stood up and smiled. "Good evening, my lord," I said. "Please come in. Would you like something to eat?" "No, thank you," he said. "I'm not hungry. But I want to sit next to you, wife. Please tell that man to move." A man got out of the chair next to me, and Darnley sat beside me. Then he put his arms round me. I did not like it. His face was hot, and his eyes looked unhappy. But I smiled and said, "I'm happy to see you, my lord." "Are you, Mary?" He laughed. "Are you really?" "Yes, of course, my lord. But—" Then the second door opened, and his friend, Lord Ruthven, stood there. He had a knife in his hand. His face was red, and he looked very angry. At first, no one moved. Then Ruthven said, "Your Majesty, send David Riccio out of this room now. I want him." I looked at Riccio. He was afraid. "Why?" I said. "Why do you want him?" "He is a bad, wicked man," Ruthven said. "Send him out." "No," I said. "You want to kill him. David Riccio is my friend. He stays here, with me." "He goes out, woman," Lord Ruthven said. "King Henry, hold your wife, please." I stood up, but Darnley held my arms, and I could not move. David Riccio ran behind me and held my dress. My friends in the room stood up too, and moved towards Ruthven angrily. But he had a knife in his hand. "Get back," he said angrily. "Don't touch me." Then 5 men with knives ran into the little room, and there was a fight. One man held a knife in my face, and another man hit David Riccio behind me. Then they pulled him out of the room. "Help me!" he screamed. "Help me, my queen, please! They're going to kill me! Don't! Ah!" I couldn't help him, because Darnley had me in his arms. But I could hear David Riccio's screams. I think he fell down the stairs, and he screamed for 2 or 3 minutes. Then it was quiet. "What are you doing?" I asked Darnley angrily. "Riccio is a good man. Why are you doing this?" Darnley laughed. "You are my wife, Mary, not David Riccio's," he said. "So why are you with him every evening? You never talk to me." I don't talk to you because you are never here, I said. You are always drinking with your friends. You aren't a king. You're a stupid boy. He laughed again. It was not a nice laugh. Well, he said, perhaps I am a boy, but that is better than David Riccio now. Do you want to go and see him? I did see him, 5 minutes after that. He was very dead, and there was blood all over the floor. Poor David Riccio. He sings to God now, not me. I looked at Henry Darnley, my husband. He had a stupid smile on his face, but I think he was afraid of me. I looked at him a long time, and the smile went away. Remember this night, husband, I said to him. Remember it well. Think about it when you look into my eyes and before you go to sleep. David Riccio was my friend, and you killed him in front of me. I'm never going to forget that, Henry Darnley. Never. Chapter 5. My son is born. Next morning, Darnley came to see me. He was afraid. What's the matter, husband? I said. Why are you crying? Oh, Mary, Mary, he said. I'm sorry. I was wrong. I helped those men to kill Riccio, and now the Earl of Moray is back here with them. He hates me. I'm afraid they're going to kill me, and you too. Think of our child, Mary, here inside you. He took me in his arms again. I was very angry. I am sorry, James, that this man was your father. He was a stupid boy, not a man. He was tall and strong and beautiful, but he could never think like a man or a king. I said, You know these men, Henry. What do they want? They want our child, Mary. They don't want us. They're going to put you in prison. They don't want you to be queen. They want your child to be king or queen. I don't know what they want to do with me. Perhaps they want you to be king too, without me, I said quietly. Then you can do what they say, like a little boy. Perhaps, Mary. They said that yesterday. But now that Moray's here, I don't know. I'm afraid. Please help me. He began to cry again. What can we do? We can run away, I said. We can leave Edinburgh quickly and quietly, before Ruthven and his men stop us. Be quiet for a minute. I want to think. I walked up and down for 2 or 3 minutes. Then I said, Henry, go back to these men. Tell them. No, Mary, please. I can't. I'm afraid of them. Listen to me, Henry, and try to be a man. Go and tell them I'm ill because of the child. Say I'm not angry with them. Tell them anything. Lie to them. Then tonight, bring some men and horses here, behind the castle. He went and did it. All day I waited in my rooms and listened. Then, at 1 o'clock in the morning, Darnley and I went quietly down the stairs behind the castle. Some of my friends were there, with horses for us. Quickly, we rode away into the night. That was a very bad night. It was dark and cold. I was ill, and Darnley was afraid. "Come on," he said. "Ride faster, woman. You're too slow." But I was pregnant, and it was cold and dark. We rode for 5 hours in the rain. "I can't, Henry," I said. "I'm ill. Think of the baby. I don't want it to die." "Why not?" he said. "We can always make another one." "I'm sorry, but it is true. Your father said things like that, James." Then he rode away in front of me, into the dark. I rode slowly behind, with my good woman, Bess Curl. In the morning, we arrived at Dunbar Castle. Darnley slept, and I wrote letters to my friends. Next day, Lord Bothwell came to help me. I liked him. He was a good, strong man. Soon I had an army of 8,000 men. Bothwell and I rode back to Edinburgh with the army. Lord Ruthven died, and some of his friends ran away, but the Earl of Moray stayed. All that summer I ruled the country and waited for the baby. My husband stayed outside my rooms. I did not want to see him. No one did. Perhaps he drank with his friends. I don't know. And then, on the 19th of June, in a small room in Edinburgh Castle, my baby was born. It took a long time, but at last you were in my arms. James, my son. I asked your father to come in. "My Lord Henry," I said, "this is our baby. Look at him, my lord. Take him in your arms. He is your son. Isn't he beautiful?" But your father did not love me, James. Very often, after you were born, he slept with other women. I know that because he talked to everyone about it. I think he wanted people to know. And I am sorry, but I do not think he loved you, James. When I took you to church and gave you your name, he did not come. He wasn't interested. But because of him, David Riccio was dead. I could never forget that. Never.